All right, for today's lesson, you're going to be talking about literal equations. So we're going to be looking at basically an equation that has lots of variables where you're not going to actually get a numerical answer. Literal equations means an equation with two or more variables that represent unknown values. So the process that you're going to use today is the same process that you use to solve other equations, but instead of actually getting a numerical answer, you're just going to simply rearrange the equation. So the process to solve any of the variables means you are going to rearrange you're going to rearrange the equation, and the key is that you're going to isolate means to get it by itself, the variable that they want you to solve for. So there's going to be lots of variables, so you need to pay attention to which variable they're asking you to solve for, and you're still going to use those inverse operations. So if I'm looking at my first problem, they're going to tell us which one they want us to solve for. So for this particular equation, they want us to solve for A. So basically what that's saying is they want us to get A by itself. So I recommend solving for the variable that they want you to get by itself. And then at that point, you're going to use your same process of doing the opposite in order to solve for those pieces. So what we're going to do here is we're going to solve for A. So we need to move this F piece right here. So right now it's minus F. So minus F, we're going to do the opposite of that. So the opposite is going to be plus F. So we're going to add F to the other side. And then what's going to happen is, just like if it were a number, that's going to cancel, and that's going to be Q plus F. So we have rearranged it so that my A is by itself. Now, the reason we do this is a lot of times with formulas, it's a lot easier to use a formula if you already know what you want to solve for. We will use this later on in the semester when we're doing linear functions, but for right now, we're just learning how to do the process itself. So like number 2, they want us to solve for D. So I'm going to get D by itself. So I'm going to circle that so that I know which one I'm solving for. And I know that in order to get D by itself, I need to move this F. So that's a positive F. So the opposite of plus F is going to be minus F. So we're going to subtract that over. Now, you can also rewrite the problem if you want to beforehand. But at this point, I have N minus F, because I can't combine those, equals D. All right. And again, if you want to rewrite it before you get started, you would just simply say F plus D equals N. All right, so for the next one, we're solving for F. So if I want to get F by itself, I can see that F is being multiplied by A. So the opposite of multiplication is going to be division. And again, if you want to go ahead and rewrite it so that the variable that you're solving for is on the left-hand side, you can. So once I do that, I'm looking at getting the A moved over. So A times F, we're going to divide by A to undo that multiplication. So those A's are going to cancel just like they would if they were a number, and F equals G divided by A. All right, so for this one, they want us to solve for H. So again, we're going to circle H because that's what we want to isolate. That's what we want to get by itself. And in order to get H by itself, we need to move this minus 7. So the opposite of minus 7 is going to be plus 7. So with that, that's going to cancel. We have H equals N plus 7. So again, the whole point is they're going to tell you which variable to solve for. So that's the variable you want to get by itself. And then you're going to move anything away from it. You're going to isolate it. Okay, it's kind of like if you, let's say you're rearranging the furniture in your room. you're going to have the same furniture. You're still going to have your bed. You're still going to have your dresser. You're still going to have the same pieces. It's just going to look different in a different order. Okay, so you're still going to have the same pieces when you're done. You're just going to rearrange it so that the variable that they want is by itself. So D. So we're going to solve for D here. Now, in this problem, D is being divided by F. So we undo division with multiplication. So we're going to multiply by F on both sides. So we're going to cancel that one because F divided by F technically is going to equal 1. So D equals J times F, or just FJF or FJ. Either one is correct. So if you were to write it like this, that's okay because multiplication is still multiplication regardless of the order. All right, so for number 6, we're solving for F again. So I'm going to circle the variable I want to get by itself. All right, so in this particular problem, I have F times G. So remember, the opposite, the inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by G. Okay, the G's on the left are going to cancel, and then F equals 5 divided by G. Now, the last one, we got to take an extra step here. And the reason why is because we're solving for D. But the difference is D is in the denominator. So in order to take an extra step, we've got to get D out of the denominator in order to solve for it. So D is being divided. So we're going to do multiplication of D to actually move it. So even though we're solving for D, we got to move D in order to get it out of the denominator. So that's going to cancel there. So we have D times 8, or we can just write 8D equals B. Now again, we're solving for D. So now we know that 8 is being multiplied by D, so we need to undo the multiplication with division. So that extra step was to get D out of the denominator, and then we can solve. So D equals B over 8. Now, with these examples, you're going to be completing a Delta Math. And remember, Delta Math also has videos attached to the examples if you need some additional help with that. So remember, when we're solving for literal equations, the only thing that we're really doing is rearranging it. But we've got to rearrange it using the inverse operation. So adding and subtracting go together, multiplication and division go together.